Mom, you said in the car I could have a piece of candy that's over here. And I'm gonna stand at the door and roll. Maybe after church we can try it. Maybe after church we can try it.
Go over there, please. Go over there, please.
Hi, everyone. Today is a special day here at Prayer Baptist Church. It is commencement service today, and we want to give a special thanks to all our teachers and Bible school helpers and volunteers. Bible school was a great success this year with several children making professions of salvation. During our puppet skits this year, we saw Leslie, who struggled with the peer pressures of saying words she should not say, and Cameron, who faced pressure to lie to his teachers so he and his friends could use the money to buy candy and treats for themselves. These small illustrations of the temptations of peer pressure are very real in the lives of children. Through lessons taught yesterday of Reuben and Daniel at Vacation Bible School this year, our prayer is that our children are now more equipped to handle the peer pressure that they are exposed to. Building children up with the strength of the Lord to fight the enemy. Our theme song this year was based off of our key word, boom, be one of mine. Am I doing what God wants me to do? Or am I trying to impress all of my friends? What would they think of me if I said no? What should I do? What should I do? God says to be one of mine, be one of mine. Whenever the choices seem too hard to decide, God says to be one of mine, be one of mine. He is the right way every single time. God says to be one of mine, be one of mine. Whenever the choices seem too hard to decide, God says to be one of mine, be one of mine. He is the right way every single time. Thanks again to all those who helped this year. We are building God's kingdom together.
So we did have a good time at Bible school this year, and it turned out to be a good day. It was like it's supposed to rain every day for about the last month, and then it went around us, and we didn't have weather issues, didn't have any kids get hurt, had a few get saved, and it was a good day. So I want to give you a lot of you were here, and some of you wasn't, and I'll give you an overview of kind of what we learned yesterday. And maybe you was here, but you was too busy chasing kids to even listen to what you was saying. So, I think we've all been there before, right? Trying to keep up with kids, and you said some stuff, and hopefully it was right, because you don't even remember what it was, right? But no, we had a real good time yesterday, and what we were talking about is the pressures of life, and pressures on kids today they just keep getting harder. It seems like it was, if you talk to different generations of people, it seems like the pressures keep getting harder as you go. So we wanted to talk to the kids about that, and encourage them to. Our theme there, boom, to be one of mine. God says, be one of mine. And we wanted to get that in their head to where next time there's a pressure comes along, maybe that slogan will just pop back into their mind when they're saying, what should I do in this situation? Maybe that boom, that'll help. And it actually does. Small little triggers sometimes help. Because you're trying to figure out something, trying to overcomplicate it. Well, what if I do this and what if I do that? Sometimes a little trigger word like a boom will help you out. You say, oh yeah, I know what I'm supposed to do. Just be one of God's. That's simple enough, right? Takes a lot of the guesswork out. So what we talked about, we compared we compared two stories. We compared the story of Reuben, which he's the brother of Joseph, the one that got thrown in the pit and sold into slavery by his brothers. Yeah, I don't know how many times I've read the story of Joseph, and it's always about Joseph, right? I mean, it's about Joseph. He got, you know, his brothers turned on his daddy, liked him best. His brothers turned on him. You know, he got sold into slavery. Later on, you know, he went on down. Later on, he's in charge in Egypt. And I mean, it's a story of Joseph. Well, it's actually my wife noticed that, you know, Reuben was one of Joseph's brothers that he didn't really want to go along with the rest of them. See, Israel made it pretty obvious that Joseph was his favorite, so his other brothers hated him. I mean, whenever you're, you know, if you think about it, when you're I don't know how old these boys were, but if you've heard it all your life, ever since this little kid's been born, how much more your daddy likes him than he likes you. He makes him a coat of many colors. He don't make you one. You know, it's all you ever hear. Oh, what about Joseph? What about Joseph? You get tired of hearing about Joseph, right? And so these other brothers decided that they hated Joseph. And then Joseph goes and has some dreams, some visions, some dreams about later on he's got his brothers and his family and all these people's going to be bowing down to him. Well, you know, they already don't like him, and then Joseph tells them about his dream, and now they hate him worse. And so that's to set the scene. These brothers, they don't like Joseph. And so their daddy tells the other brothers to go out and check on the flock, feed the flock, check on them. And they're gone for a little while, and then Israel sends out Joseph, says, go check on your brothers in the flock. So he does. And these brothers, you know, we hear about Joseph was thrown into the pit and he was sold into slavery. Well, that was not the original plan. The original plan is whenever these other brothers saw Joseph coming up, they said, let's just kill him. We'll kill him and throw him in a pit. We'll tell Daddy that we'll tell our father that an animal got him. That was the plan. Reuben didn't want to hurt his brother. He was under pressure because all the other brothers did. Yeah, the other brothers did want to hurt him. Reuben didn't want to hurt him. So Reuben came up with a plan. He said, well, I got to kill him. Well, I got to get his blood on our hands. Let's just we'll throw him in a pit and go away. And Reuben's plan the whole time with this was that they would throw him in a pit, and Reuben would go back later to get him. See, Reuben was under pressure to kill him. He didn't want to do that. So Reuben didn't do the worst thing possible, right? He didn't just say, yeah, let's kill him. But he said, let's throw him in a pit. And he didn't tell them this, but in his mind, he was going to come back and get him later and take him back to his father. So Reuben didn't do the worst thing, but he didn't do the right thing. And we try to teach the kids, and we as adults can learn this too. A lot of times that's where we are in it. I'm not going to do the worst thing, but am I doing the right thing? The thing that's a little harder than pretending like you're going along with the crowd. That's what Reuben was doing here, right? He's pretending like he was going along with the crowd. He didn't stop him and say, no, this is wrong. We're not going to hurt our brother. He didn't stop him and just take care of the situation. What he done was pretended like he was going along with the crowd, trying not to do the worst thing, but still not doing the right thing. So we know that they throw him in the pit, and then next thing you know, the other brothers are talking, and there's some people going down to Egypt, and they sell him into slavery. So they get him out of the pit and sell him into slavery, and apparently Reuben was out of pocket when this was happening because Reuben went back to the pit to get him. And then when Reuben went back to the pit to get him, he was already gone. His brother had already been sold into slavery, and it's too late to do the right thing then. And so Reuben went along with his brothers, told Israel, their daddy told Israel that, hey, the animal got him, and that's where they left it with Israel. That's where they left it, and he got into depression and mourning, and we know it all worked out years down the road, but these brothers didn't have a clue it was going to work out down the road. They thought that he was gone. They got rid of him. They got away with it, and that was the end of that in their mind. So Reuben, he was our first example He didn't do the worst thing he could have possibly done, but he didn't resist the pressure and do the right thing. So our second person we talked about was Daniel. Probably all heard of Daniel in the lion's den. So with Daniel, King Darius had set up, presidents and princes over his kingdom, kind of help him run things, make sure it didn't get messed up too bad. And Daniel was one of the presidents, and he was a favorite because Daniel had an excellent spirit in him. You couldn't help but like Daniel, except for just one little group of people. They didn't like Daniel. And so King Darius had that set up, and the other presidents and princes, they were getting jealous. They didn't like that Daniel was the favorite. The king was thinking about setting him up over the whole rim. They didn't like that. So they knew they wasn't going to trip up Daniel real easy because Daniel was a real good guy. So they knew that what they had to do was they had to make it to where Daniel would have to choose between the king or God, because they knew that Daniel would choose God. So they put Daniel under this pressure, and they had the king make this decree that you couldn't pray to anybody else. You couldn't ask anything of any man or God except for King Darius for 30 days. It was an unchangeable decree. Not even the king can change it. It's set in stone. So, of course, Daniel has a choice to make. He either denies God for 30 days or he defies the king. And the punishment for this defying the king was going to be that you got thrown in the lion's den. So we know that Daniel went back and he prayed just like he always had. He left his windows open. He prayed. The guys who was after him anyway, of course, they found out Daniel wasn't hiding it. He prayed every day just like he always did with the windows open. I like to say right there too that Daniel prayed every day like he always did. Daniel wasn't putting on a show. You know, sometimes people may do a certain thing to say, "Look at me." Daniel wasn't saying, "Look at me." Daniel just kept doing what he was doing every day. So we need to live a Christian life every day. If they're watching, good. If they're not watching, you still live that same Christian life. It's not based on who's looking at you. It's based on your relationship with God. But Daniel did the right thing. He prayed. They told on him. And the king liked Daniel. Daniel was a hard guy not to like. And the king really liked Daniel. And he didn't want to throw him in this lion's den, but he didn't have a choice because that was an unchangeable decree. So the king threw him in the lion's den, had the mouth of the lion's den sealed up, and left him in there all night. And the king couldn't sleep good. He left him in there all night, but he didn't get much sleep. And he went back first thing in the morning. He yelled down in there asking Daniel. He was really hoping that God had taken care of Daniel. King actually even told Daniel God was going to take care of him. I think it was more hoping on the king's part, but he even told Daniel, "Your God's going to take care of you." And then he sealed the lion's den door on it. But he came back first thing in the morning, pretty much yelled down there and asked Daniel, "Did your God take care of you?" And Daniel, of course, Daniel was fine. God had sealed them lions' mouths. Let me tell you something. We always talk about the lion's mouth. A lion don't have to have his mouth to kill you. There's a lot of ways a lion can kill you. You have no chance in a wrestling match with a lion, even if his mouth is shut. All right. So God quietened these lions all the way down. It didn't just give them lockjaw. These lions were gone. They were laying there. They wasn't trying to hurt anybody because God was taking care of Daniel. But so Daniel came out of the lion's den. The king made a new decree. The king made a new decree that everybody in his kingdom would have fear and trembling at God of Daniel. So Daniel's faith, Daniel's I don't know what you said, his consistency, the way he acted under pressure, it saved him, but it also made the king see that Daniel's God was God. And he may have got a new decree that you will respect the God of Daniel. So those are the two examples that we gave. That in our lives there's going to be times of pressure. I'll talk to you about our conclusion here that we told the kids. So in our lives there's going to be times of pressure. It's going to be times when people want you to do things that aren't right. And this could be anything. It could be drugs, stealing, sinful relationships, any number of things that God wouldn't be pleased with. But we got to be strong under pressure. And a lot of times a lot of times the temptation will be to be like Reuben. It's a lot easier to be like Reuben than it is to be like Daniel. You know, it's what did Reuben do? He didn't do the worst thing, but he didn't do the right thing. And I think a lot of times in our lives, that's where we try to kind of sneak around right there on the edge of the fence, right? Just I ain't quite right. I ain't bad as him. You know, and it's not, and that's what we got to get out of. We got to get out of, I'm not as bad as that guy. I'm not measured against that guy. That guy's not measured against me. What we measured to is Jesus Christ. We're supposed to be trying to be like Jesus. But sometimes, you know, the pressure, the temptation's going to be like Reuben. But we still got to do the right thing. We can't just try to skate around it. But doing the not doing the worst thing you could possibly do, but still doing the wrong thing is still the wrong thing, and it still displeases God. So we need to be like Daniel and choose to hear God say, boom. You can take that. I like that saying, because that's something easy that can trigger your mind. You know, every day you got choices to make. And if you can just remember that one little word whenever you're sitting there saying, what in the world am I supposed to do? If that just triggers in your mind, if it just says boom, that's going to remind you that you need to be one of his. And so when you're under pressure and you got to make a decision between pleasing God or man, you just let that hit in your head and say boom, and choose God's way every time. So that's what we learned, and that's what we taught the kids. We had about 4 come up and make professions of salvation, and I think we planted a lot of seeds. We had nearly 50 kids. When I asked the teachers how many each one had, it added up to 49. And then we had about 21 adults. So we had about 70 people here this year. And I mean that's good. Hey. Because we I mean really this year with the situation being what it is, we didn't invite large group homes this year. We had some flyers, but we didn't even have to push it that hard. And we had 70 people here. So, Amen. I mean, I hate to put, I don't know how else to put it, okay? But it's 70 people here, and we didn't try that hard on getting people here. Now, we invited some people and stuff like that, but the sky's the limit of what we can do here if we all get behind it. Amen. Because it was 70 whenever we didn't even know if anybody besides the people that come to church here was coming. So, I don't mean that to be a downer in any way. I mean that to be a positive. We can make this thing big. But honestly, whether there's 300 people here or 2 people here, if we can plant the seed of the gospel, that's what we have. But we did have a lot of people helping us out, and I want to take this time to hand out some certificates. And if I call your name, just come up here and get it from me. If you're embarrassed, it won't take long to walk up here. Caden Brewer. He helped us with the setup. Y'all didn't get to see him tonight, but yesterday, we had a bigger puppet show yesterday for kids. And there's this big blue-headed puppet with a head about that wide. Caden was the voice of that puppet. And he also helped with songs. All right. Heather got set up photos. And Leanne helped some with the photos too. Heather took a bunch of photos and she helped us set up. Mr. William, you helped us with the setup. He also helped us make sure that the 20-foot water slide worked way before it was done. Weston? Come on up. Weston helped us with the setup. And she's not here tonight, but she's helped us out yesterday. Lynn Smith. Leanne Sexton helped us with setup right in the kitchen. All right, in games we had, I don't see Tommy tonight, but he's here yesterday and he helped us out. He sat on top of the slide and crowd control. Every once in a while, you know, sometimes too many would be trying to go and Tommy'd stop that and let one at a time go. Sometimes one would get there and want to hold up the line and Tommy'd throw him down the slide. He helped us. Sean Duncan. He helped us with James. Danny was helped us with signing in and out. Sean was the traffic control on the bottom of the slide. He was in the line of fire. I tell you, you don't think a kid can hit you that hard, but whenever they wet and coming down 20 feet, it's quite a hit. All right, in crafts we got Stanley Rhodes. Got Gene Ray. See him tonight. He was his big help yesterday. Jeff Smith. He helped us with that. So what we did in crafts this year is we made it what they call a seed bomb. And it's a mixture of clay and dirt and wildflower seeds. And where these originally came to be is, from what I understand, where it originally came up is people make these things and then like a vacant lot, you know, somebody's got an ugly place in the neighborhood they don't take care of. People would take these seed bombs and throw them out their car window. And then whenever it rains, you don't have to plant these things or anything. Whenever it rains, it breaks down and starts growing wildflowers. So, but that's illegal now for some reason. But anyway, you can throw them in your own yard. But if you do start seeing wildflower patches in your yard, you're welcome. In the nursery, we had Susan Brewer. She's not here tonight. She's not feeling good. And Carol Brazil. They have the little babies. That's hands full all day. And the 3 to 6s, got Ellie Brewer. And Hannah also did the puppets and the songs and helped with the setup. There were 16 in that, was it 16? 16 kids in that class. And the 7 to 10's got Emily Duncan. She also helped us set up and helped Sean in water wars. I don't know about that. I think she may have saved him. And Lisa Anthony, she's also 7 to 10s. There were 20 in that class. 7 to 10. Somehow or another, Miss Lisa always gets the biggest class. No matter where we put it. It lands that way. All right, 11 and up, we got Kayla Chapman. We had 10 of those. And Rick Hawkham, I don't see him there, but he was a big help. He had the 11 and ups, and he's also everybody's favorite target in the water war. He can't move without somebody getting him in the water war. But, just all around helping. Terry Brewer, but he got called into work, so he's not here tonight. That one's mine. We got one for the preacher. He helps us all around. He goes around, makes sure things are running right, and helps us. He helps us when it's time to lead people to the Lord. But But I would like to thank everybody that helped. And I'd like to thank my wife. She came up with she actually pointed out that Ruben was under pressure, and that kind of got the whole thing kicked off. And then once we got that part figured out, then we kicked it over for what in the world we're going to call it, and Leanne and them helped with that, and it all came together. But I want to thank everybody that helped, and that's another special thanks to my wife. She really makes this thing stuff. Anything you think I'm doing, she does. on the Bible school, but she's a big help, and she's really good at finding these things out. So, anybody else ready to eat some ice cream?
Apologize for that not working. They've
Right.
done a lot of picture taking, and we'll get it fixed, and we'll watch it at a later date.
All right. Yeah, we did have like a 20-minute slideshow of pictures, but we had technical difficulties with the projector. So
Maybe we can put it online. I can send a link.
yeah, we'll try that. Was Izzy trying to say something? Okay, you just ready to eat ice cream? Okay. All right. I'll say a prayer and we'll go over and eat some ice cream. Dear God, we thank you for this time together. We thank you for this Bible school we had. We thank you for the ones that came forward and professed salvation. We pray that you develop them into the Christians you want them to be.